go back to our top story today, severe weather here in southern Colorado.
And Jay Polk is in the Weather Center keeping an eye on all of those storms out there. Jay?
That's right, Robin. Randy, we continue to track some thunderstorms as they make their way into El Paso County. There is good news from the Weather Service. They've canceled the tornado warning, but they have issued a severe thunderstorm warning. This is what the watches and warnings graphics looks like. It's lit up, I'm afraid, as we go through this afternoon. It will continue to be this way as we go through much of the next little bit. Continue to see those strong thunderstorms that are pushing their way through southern Colorado. This is the view from Monument now. It's very dark skies, but according to one of the emergency managers up in that area, they hadn't seen a lot of rotation in Monument, so the storm did weaken a bit before it pushed into the city itself, which is really great news to hear. This is from the Tri-Lakes Fire and Rescue Camera. 74 degrees because temperatures have cooled off a lot. When you have all this rain, you have all these strong thunderstorms, you have these strong outflows from these thunderstorms, temperatures tend to really get driven down. That's what's happened in Monument. This was the camera in Rush in eastern El Paso County. We've also seen some strong thunderstorms heading towards Highway 24. So if you're traveling to the northeast from Peyton, as you head up towards Lyman, or if you're heading to the northeast from Springs and from Falcon, you can see this off in the distance, ladies and gentlemen, and this is what you're facing. You're facing a very strong thunderstorm. So travel plans, I wouldn't do it along Highway 24 northeast of Falcon as you head up towards the El Paso and Douglas County line and up towards Lyman, because it will be a very rough go for at least the next little bit. In addition to that, of course, we have this other thunderstorm which is now beginning to weaken. Remember when we talked about how they weaken and they strengthen, these thunderstorms do? Well, this one's getting a little stronger. Meanwhile, this one is getting a little weaker. This is why the Weather Service office in Pueblo has decided to go ahead and let that tornado warning expire at 4:15, which of course is as of a few minutes from now. So they're going to let it expire perhaps a few minutes early because this storm is not showing as much rotation as it had earlier on. You can see what's happening though. It will still cross Interstate 25. Sure, it's not tornadic anymore, but it's still severe. There is a severe thunderstorm warning now until 4:45 as we go through the next few minutes for the possibility for large hail and of course damaging winds. Even if you don't necessarily have a tornado, you can still have hail to 1.5 inches. That's still golf ball size. That can still do a lot of damage to a car. And of course, still do a lot of damage to you as well if you're outside. Monument 4:15 for the stronger part of the storm. For the more hail-producing part of the storm, this area right here that you can see on your screen. Glen Eagle by 4:22, Black Forest by 4:36, and Falcon by 4:52. I want to back it up to Black Forest because, of course, this is over the Black Forest burn scar. So what we're also going to be concerned about is possibilities for some flooding as we go through the rest of the evening as well because of heavy amounts of rain that fall in short amounts of time. We showed you those rainfall rates a few minutes ago, more than 3 inches per hour. Fortunately enough, it's moving fast enough where we're not going to see 3 inches, but it's a possibility that there could be some real issues with flooding as we go through the next several hours as these thunderstorms continue to push over the Black Forest burn scar in particular. Skycast as we go through this evening does call for those showers and storms to eventually fade. That's the good news. There could be more of them as we go through our Tuesday afternoon as well, but the bottom line is that we are going to continue to see the chances for the showers and storms all the way into our Tuesday as well, but on a much more scattered basis. Still, though, any storms that do pop up on our Tuesday afternoon will have heavy rain and could be isolated strong as well. So you see what's happening in Storm Tracker for tonight? See that area in yellow? That, of course, indicates the highest risk for severe thunderstorms. And the Storm Prediction Center absolutely nailed this scenario. This was the best severe weather scenario that we'd seen in the last several weeks, and the Storm Prediction Center got it all right here. As you can see what's happening with the area in yellow with the slight risk, with the highest possibility for severe thunderstorms, and that's exactly what we've seen just from the west of I-25 over to the Kansas line. And, of course, hail and strong winds were the main threats, but isolated tornadoes couldn't be ruled out, and that's exactly what we've seen. Spring 7-day forecast. As we go through the next 7 days, we're going to see temperatures drop off. So this is good news. After we see this front finally make its way through the region, we get to breathe a little easier in the Weather Center as the weather does calm down quite a bit. 72 the high on Wednesday, but it does rebound as we go into next weekend. High temperatures back to the middle 80s before dropping a bit again by Saturday and Sunday, or especially by Sunday. Pueblo, we're sitting in the middle to upper 70s on Wednesday, then it's back to the mid to upper 80s by Thursday. Lower 90s Friday and Saturday. Gives way to upper 80s and lower 90s again. Lows in both cities sitting in the upper 50s and lower 60s. Canyon City? Temperatures dropping into the middle 70s by Wednesday after sitting in the lower to middle 80s tomorrow. Then it's upper 80s to near 90 again as we go through Friday, and then back to upper 80s to right about 90 throughout our weekend. And in Teller County, temperatures here sitting in the lower 60s by Wednesday, and then it's back to the mid to upper 70s later on in the forecast. Lows sitting in the mid to upper 40s. So very busy times, of course, in the Weather Center, but there is good news further down the line. We'll see much calmer weather. You want to see rain, right? You don't want to see flooding. No. You don't want to see burns either. You don't want to see fires like we've seen in California so often over the last couple of years. Exactly. But we don't want to see the flooding rains either. And that's a possibility as we go through this evening. Yeah. Keep tracking it for you.
We'll monitor the burn scar. Right now we're dealing with hail, heavy wind, or strong wind, I should say,
Yeah.
and heavy
Possibility
rain.
for tornadoes. Isolated tornadoes have popped up. They've been weak, as we've seen. They've come up, they've dropped down. We've seen the funnel cloud pictures.
And luckily, none of those touched down.
As far as we know, none of those have touched down.
And the tornado warning has been allowed to expire, but
That's
we're
right.
still not in the clear for the rest of the evening.
No, not for the next several hours. We're not.
All right. And we do have crews out there keeping an eye on these storms. We're seeing some pictures come into our Facebook page right now. We always appreciate seeing those pictures, but of course, as Jay mentioned, stay safe when you're taking those photos, especially if there's a
Right.
warning in your area. There's no place that's safe outside. You really need to be
No,
inside.
that's true. Especially 1.5-inch hail is like this. That's ping pong ball size. That's
That
pretty
can
bad.
hurt.
That can do a lot of damage.
Sure can. Sure can.
Thanks, Jay. We'll be right back.